Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now I have got my KCC mini sampler kit from Kendra, and this is called a Vintage Christmas. The QRL code would not work on it, so I was unable to see the brand name of this. But basically what we're going to do here today is we're going to take this sampler kit, and it is just paper. We don't have any ephemera or anything like that. We've got some cut-aparts, and we're going to make 3 cards out of this mini sampler kit that we've got here, and we're just going to use the paper. I'll bring in some cardstock just to do some layering and stuff, but otherwise these are going to be very simple cards in which you just use your pattern paper, your cut-aparts, and I've got 3 little embellishments that were included in the kit, 3 little black embellishments. So we're just going to get started, and I'm just looking at the pieces parts, and I've already identified that we've got some Santa Claus paper and a Santa Claus cut apart, and so I'm going to try and get my glue to work, and we're going to get this first base laid down on here. Now I didn't measure anything, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is not an A2 size panel. So I've got to get a panel and cut it down to A2, unless I wanted to have white showing around there. But I don't really want white on this because this is a vintage set, and I want it to look very vintage. So I quickly grabbed a piece of craft cardstock because I thought that would even kind of enhance the fact that we're making a vintage Christmas using the craft. And so I'm just going to cut down 4 A2 size panels, and hopefully that'll be enough for what we're going to do to assemble our cards. So I'm going to grab my card base and get this laid down on there, and then we're going to grab that panel that I had already glued up, and we're going to get it laid down on there. I'm going to straighten this up a little bit, and then we're going to lay it down. Now I'm looking and I'm like, there's a wider border on the top than there is the side. So I'm going to bring in my guillotine and trim off that little extra bit just so that we'll have a nice frame around there. And of course, when you do that, you get glue all over your guillotine, so I'm going to have to clean that up. But now we've got a better frame around there. It looks better. Now, before I glue this one up, I'm going to measure it and see what it is so that I'll know going forward. So just kind of learning my lesson there. And for this one, we're going to just pop it up. And so I'm grabbing these foam squares, and why I didn't get the big pieces, the big rolls, is beyond me, because then I'm going to have to peel off all of these little backer strips, and I should just reserve these for smaller items. For whatever reason, I grabbed them and started laying them down on here. So it'll take me a minute to pull it off. So anyway, you get this mini card sampler kit from Kendra as an all-access patron member. And so it's a really nice feature for the all-access level, and it's not that expensive to participate with that. Now, if you have the VIP level, you get the full mystery kit, which I will have a video coming up on my channel toward the end of the month with a full mystery kit. But this is just the mini sampler kit, and but I'm gonna have 3 cards out of this. I'm gonna have a couple scraps, I think, left over that I put on the insides of the cards or whatever. But sometimes I get, even more cards out of it, just depending on how I choose to layer things up. So I'm going to use that craft cardstock again to put another layer in there. I like layers, I like dimension, and so I'm just going to add some. Now, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. You could lay this panel right down on that Santa pattern paper that's on there, and it would be fine, but I like to add layers, and I think the craft layer just kind of adds to the vintage feel of it. So we're going to get this laid down on there. And I've got that December 25th, what I'm going to call the sentiment, and I'm going to get it laid down on there. And I noticed there's like music notes on the back of that. I didn't look at it prior to deciding I was going to slap it down on here, but there were music notes on the back of that, which was kind of fun. This is double-sided. Some of them I don't think have double sides, but most of them do. Anyway, so we've got a real cute Santa, just old school Santa on some Santa paper. I think it looks really cute. We've got those 3 little embellishments there. I'm going to save those to the end and figure out what I want to do with them. Now, I noticed right away I've got some paper with houses on it, and then I've got a cut apart with a house on it and a sentiment. And so we're going to pair these up together, and I think it'll look nice. I'm sure, Kendra puts these things together. She probably had this in mind when she put these things inside the envelope. I'm going to try and square this up. And it takes a minute. There we go. I think we've got it. And now we're ready to add our layers to it. And I'm just checking before I glue to see if I've got a good frame around there. And it looks like I need to trim this just a smidge. I've got a little bit wider frame on the top than I did on the side. So I measured it to see what it measured at, and then I cut off what I needed to cut off. And so we're going to layer this up. I always have butterfingers. I'm always dropping it when I've got glue on there and making a mess, but fortunately I caught that one. Anyway, so we've got all these houses, and it looks really neat. I like this pattern paper, and especially pairing it with that cut apart, it looks really nice. So basically what this kit is saying is that you don't really necessarily need anything but a good paper pack that has some cut aparts to create some really great cards. I'm just looking at the other bits and pieces that were included in the kit to see if there's anything else I want to add. And we're just going to get this laid down on our card panel. Just get it lined up nice and neat and give it a good press. Now, I think I'm going to frame out this one just like I did the other one, and I had some kind of burgundy colored cardstock, and I thought, well, I was going to check the color and see. I think it works just fine. So I'm just going to layer it up just like we did the other one and just create a nice little frame around it. So we'll just get this trimmed up. So how are you guys doing on your Christmas cards? Let me know if you've got them all done. I've got mine all done, plus plenty for my sister and my mom to use. But, we are nearing the Christmas season, so I know you guys want to see Christmas content, so I keep on making them. But that's okay. If I have any extra, I'll have them for next year. And I was also thinking about going to visit the nursing home again before Christmas and dropping off a batch of Christmas cards for them. So I'm sure that I'll use the ones that I have. I just think it'll be fun for the residents to get some handmade cards and to enjoy them. They were real appreciative the last time I went, so I think they will be again. So I'm just trimming off a little piece of foam that was hanging off the edge there, cleaning it up. And I kind of pushed this a little bit up so that I could lay this. Actually, no, it was the other one that I did that on. This is going to go on the inside of the card. I don't need another sentiment on it because the cut apart has a sentiment on it. And we'll get our holiday cheer laid down on the inside there. And we've got 2 very nice vintage Christmas cards. Now, I've got a couple of long strips here that need to be in portrait. Well, at least one of them needs to be in portrait style. And so I'm just kind of fiddling around. I'll wind up flipping that stocking paper over. I'm going to put the packages, I was thinking about putting it on the inside of the Santa card. We'll see what I wind up doing here. So I'm going to bring in the craft cardstock again and kind of lay these out and see what it looks like before I get too crazy gluing everything down. And I just feel like the stocking pattern paper and the poinsettia pattern paper that's on the back of that square is just a little bit too busy. And I trimmed down the house square because it's got a little bit of whatever it was cut away from on the top. And so I'll cut it away and try it out again on this little, I don't know, it's like a note, like a sticky note almost is what it looks like. But then I see, when I laid it down there, I see we've got another little bit of the cut apart there on the edge, so we need to snip that off. And so I'm going to keep messing around with this. Eventually I'll flip this over and use the other side, and I'll flip the stockings over and use it. I'm just laying these extra bits, and I'm thinking these are the pieces I'm going to use on this card. So I'm going to get this in the right direction. And I really want the house to be on the poinsettia paper. And then to my surprise, there was just solid green on the back, and I thought that's going to work out perfect. So we're just going to get these laid down on there. And it's a little bit wider than what the A2, what I need on this panel. So I'll just slide it until I get the same border around. I'll just kind of slide it around there and get it to where I've got a nice little border. And we've just overlapped a little bit. And it won't matter because we're going to put some foam tape on the other panel, I think. And it'll work out just fine. So I've got 3 vintagey Christmas cards here out of my little sampler kit. And I'm thinking about framing it up again, but the red doesn't match the red I've got going there. So I'm going to pass on that. I've got some glue there that seeped through up toward the top of my panel. And so I'm thinking I want to maybe put this a little bit higher on the card base. And what I'm not realizing yet is I have another sentiment that I laid off to the side, but I'll see it and grab it and we'll use it. There it is. We've got wonderful. And then I'm going to be able to layer up some of those other pieces that I've got there. So I got smart and I brought the foam tape in so I didn't have to do a bunch of little pieces. And here's where I'm thinking, I can layer this and this will look really nice on there. And then I just have one piece that's going to be left over. So we'll take our wonderful, we'll get it laid down on our little red snowflake pattern. And then we'll layer it up on that. I don't know, it's kind of it looks a little rustic, that cream colored. It's got some vintage brown on it. So we'll pull the backer strips off, we'll get this laid down, and we've got our 3rd card. And everything matches beautifully because I would guess that it all came from the same paper pack. Like I said, I couldn't get my QRL code to work, so I couldn't see what the brand name of it was. But now I'm thinking about, should I put this on the inside of one of these cards? And it's pretty chunky, and it's a little bit more chunky than what I normally would put on the inside of a card. So I think I just decided to forego doing that and just saying we've got that one strip left. And we're going to bring in these 3 little dots, and we're going to put 1 on each card. I don't have enough for all of them, so I'll just do 1 on each card and just put them in different places around the sentiments, and that will finish it off. And I just had 1 little tiny scrap. And I've got 3 very pretty cards to add to my stash. And I'm fighting this enamel dot. I can't get it. I couldn't hardly get it off my finger to get it laid down on here. So this will finish off our 3 cards. That's all we've got left. We've got Santa, we've got the house, and then we've got the second house card. I think they're very pretty. So here's a quick picture of it. If you like the video, hit the like for me. Thank you. Bye-bye.